Now, the reason I have taken you through projection and introjection. Projection is what's going on in you. You project onto somebody else. And introjection, meaning you take in what doesn't belong to you, is in order for us to get into an important key for boundaries. And we're going to be going through, in a few minutes, some specific things called the 10 laws of boundaries. Like the 10 Commandments, there are 10 laws of boundaries. On your sheet, and I hope you all received it, under one of my favorite books is the book Boundries by Town McClounson. It is the best book on the subject. It was written by a wonderful Christian psychologist. My wife wasn't as interested in this, but she was kind enough to go with me. I dragged her to see the boundary presentation that was done at Willow Creek by Townsend. It was great. It was fabulous. Everything he said was correct. And so that book is one that I can't recommend enough to you. And we're going to be talking about 10 laws of boundaries, and I stole those from Cloud and Townsend, or I'm sharing them with you today. Now, but before we go there, here is this word, empathy. This is the most important activity you can have in any relationship. Empathy is understanding another person's feelings. Get ready for this now. Understanding another person's feelings to his or her satisfaction. It's understanding another person's feelings to his or her satisfaction. So, here's Patty, and here's me, and this never happened before, but pretend I'm sitting there. Patty said, "You weren't very friendly to my sister and her husband when they visited last night, and I really didn't like that. You seemed like you were in your own world, like you were preparing to do a retreat or something like that. You didn't seem to care very much about it, but now, immediately, my defenses come up, right? You must stop your defenses and move into empathy skills. So what I'm hearing you say, Patty, is that you felt as though I wasn't as polite and attentive to your brother-in-law and sister-in-law as you would have liked me to. Is that correct? And she could say, yes. She could say, well, kind of. But it's not just that. It was also that when the kids invited you to go outside and play softball, you didn't want to do that either. I didn't like that. Now again, my natural defenses are wanting to come up and explain, well, wait, I have this going on, all my excuses. But do you think that's going to help her? Not much. So, what I'm hearing you say is that you felt as though I wasn't as friendly to your sister and your brother-in-law, and I didn't pay enough attention to the kids. Have I got it? Correct, Jeff, you got it. I'm really sorry that you feel that way, and I want you to know it was not my intention to do that. It was not my intention. And that is the truth. I hadn't even thought about it. Now I'm just making this up. This could be something else. It was not my intention to do that. Now, what can I do to help you with these feelings in the future? Get rid of. Get rid of. Throw it out right now. Commit to Christ and the cross. Get rid of the need to be right. Forget about being right. And want to be in right relationship. Don't want to be right. Be in right relationship. That's what counts. I want to be in a right place with her. Rather than say, oh no, that's not true. I told the kids, I went out there and I said I was going to play ball, and they didn't want me to play ball, and so they're little brats anyway. They never and all the stuff that I might want to come up with. Or you shouldn't feel that way. You know, your sister and brother-in-law, frankly, are a big pain in the rear. I'm sick of them coming around here. All they do is mooch and leech. I'm tired of it. You got it right. I'm sick and tired of it. Now, where do you think that's going to take us? In a good place? Even though that may be how I feel. But you see, I don't have a need to be right. I got a need to be in a right relationship.
So does that need to be right, just your pride coming out?
That's it. It's my defenses. It's my need to prove that I'm okay and that I'm trying to justify what I did. And that's not relational building whatsoever.
Why are we like that? I mean, why are we so always like that? You know, you're just describing it. It's like, I think I said that on the way out the door or something. Why do we always go to that instinctive?
What is it about human nature?
I'm going to answer that as a Christian. I believe that is a part of our original sin. Original sin in the Garden of Eden is that they disobey and they eat of the fruit, both the husband and the wife, Adam and Eve, because they know that the day that they eat of the fruit, they will be like God. They will be all knowing. They will be all righteous. They will be omnipotent. They will be like God. And so, over and over in my life, in your life, we want to be right. We want to be God. We want to be king. And so, that just comes naturally. A child doesn't need to be taught to say, you're wrong, Daddy, I'm right. It comes automatically. It's part of our defensiveness with which we are built. It comes with the package. And I think of that fundamental sinfulness, that old Adam or old Eve, that is a part of us all. I want to go over with you the 10 laws of boundaries. And here's the first. The law of sowing and reaping. Basically, this is the law of cause and effect. You can't avoid the consequences. If you overspend, you're going to be in debt. If you eat right and exercise, you'll have better physical health. Obvious, right? However, in human relationship, some people try to save others from this law by stepping in and trying to avoid those consequences for someone else. That is a mistake that goes back earlier to what we were talking about, like with your son. We want to violate the boundary of cause and effect. If my son says to me, I want to do X, and he's of a certain age where he's an adult, then he's going to do X. And I'm going to say, well, I don't think that's really a good choice, but he's going to have to experience the consequences. I can't save him from that. If I see anything the parents do wrong, among many things, it's they're constantly bailing out their kids and not having them face the consequences. It's the teacher's fault, not the kid's fault that she didn't do the homework. A mistake. 2, the law of responsibility. Cloud and Townsend write, we are to love one another, not be one another. I can't feel your feelings for you. I can't think for you. I can't behave for you. I can't work through the disappointments that limits bring for you. In short, I can't grow for you. Only you can. Likewise, you can't grow for me. Again, and I learned this many, many years ago from a fine therapist who was explaining to me that we can never do anybody's psychological work for them. I can't stand anything more than all my years in psychotherapy in which I get a call from a wife and she'll say, Dr. Dyer, I'd like to make an appointment for my husband. Well, what's going on? He's depressed, he's miserable, and impossible to get along. I said, well, thanks so much for calling. Have your husband call me and set up the appointment. I won't do it.
So the husband calls, says, I have a wife, she needs to get an appointment. She's unreasonable and angry.
I wish. What happens more often is the husband never calls because that's her stuff. She wants him to work out his stuff that he doesn't want to work on. You are responsible for you, and I'm responsible for me. And that's true in marriage. Your wife is responsible for who she is. I'm responsible for who I am. If there's anything, again, that I want you to remember, you already know this, you can't change anybody. If you can change people, please let me know. I'm going to skip this new church I'm at. Let's just become multi-zillionaires, billionaires together, and we'll put out this formula, and we'll have them lined up literally from the Willow Center to here for help. $50,000 a pop, or $100,000, depending on how we feel. If you can change people who don't want to change, it can't be done. The next is, number 3 is the law of power. Under this heading, the Bible, there's a Bible verse that hits home. I do not understand what I do, for what I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate, I do. For what I do is not the good I want to do, no, the evil I do not want to do. This I keep doing, waging war against the law of my mind and making me prisoners of the law of sin at work within my members. And you recognize that from Paul in Romans. And
Jeff, what verse?
Verse that is?
yes, Romans 7:15 and Romans 19 and 23.
Keep on going. And he keeps on going, and then he excuses himself because it isn't himself that's doing it, it's sin that lives within him. I've always had problems with that.
We, by nature, are sinful. Every one of us is in a battle every day. If you're truly a Christian, you're in a battle. And a day go by that you're not in a battle sometime. And here's what I must understand. I need to know what are my problems. And I have the power to submit my inability to solve my problems to God. I don't know about you, but I'm very serious. I can't make it without Christ. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I know that the majority of this world is trying to do it. But we're not created to be alone. We're not created to do it on our own. We need Jesus. I have the power to search and ask God and others to reveal more and more about what is in my boundaries. In other words, what belongs to me and what doesn't belong to me. I know pastors who are in a crusade to change everybody. They're going to lose. You can't do it. You can't change anybody but yourself. How you react to others. I have the power to turn from negative that I find within me and recognize the positive in me. You have got to grow and develop a good self-image. There are people I know that continue to blame their mother and fathers to their graves. But ultimately, we have to make our own self-image.